Hi guys, so as you can see behind me, there's a start line. Where am I? I'm at a place called Shelsley Walsh. Famous hill climb. Apparently it's one of the oldest continuously serving motorsports facilities. So somebody told me 1905, I have to double check that, is when it actually started, which would actually predate Brooklands, it seems. Facts that need to be checked. But anyway, why am I here? Well, you can see there's a start line, you can see there's a car going up, you can see there's a bunch of people. We are now going to walk up this hill and then we're going to drive it. Now, normally that's quite exciting and I'm always be looking forward to doing something like that. The only thing is, I'll be doing this in my own car, which slightly makes me a little bit more anxious because it's your own car. So I'll be doing this in my 1989 BMW 325i E30 modern classic, and we'll see how we get on there. So the day starts with walking up, getting familiar with the course, and then some introductory runs, and then after lunch you get to do some runs a little bit quicker maybe. So we'll see how it goes.
My name's Toby Moody and I've been involved at the Shelsley Walsh Speed Hill Climb for probably 40 years now. I'm involved at Shelsley because my father used to compete here, and then my father commentated here, and then I started commentating here, and that led on to other things for me. It's the oldest continually used motorsport venue in the world. We started here on August the 12th, 1905, and here we are in 2023. It's still going. It's exactly the same course. It's 1,000 yards from the bottom of the hill to the top, and many people say, well, that's only a kilometre. Trust me, when you're going quickly, there's a lot going on.
So what sort of speeds do people get up to on this?
The quickest speeds that we've seen with the modern Hillclimb Championship cars is over 165 miles an hour over the finish line.
Wow.
It's about 145 miles an hour on S approach, which is before a series of left-right S's, which you will have been through. But once they get into their stride up the top, it's quite something. But even more impressive than that is actually the acceleration of the modern hill climb cars.
Yeah.
They're doing over 100 miles an hour before the first corner. Hill climbing is absolutely all about time, and whether or not you do a personal best in your road car, or you do a class winning time or a run-off winning time in a single-seater, it's always a thrill. The record initially here was 77.6 seconds in 1905. It's now 22.37. Now that doesn't sound very long, 22.37 seconds, and I'm sure if I keep talking it'll fill 22 seconds, but there is an awful lot going on in that time.
What car did that? That's staggering.
The current hill record holding time is held by Sean Gould. He's built his own car, designed his own car. He's come from a lineage of car designers. His father was he built his own car in the mid-80s and won the British Hill Climb Championship in 85, and then they discovered that carbon fibre filtered down to club motorsport, and they started using carbon fibre. They modified Formula 3 cars, and now they've built a special hill climb car. It's got a 4-litre V8 Judd X LMP2 Le Mans endurance engine in the back of it. Wow. It's very compact, but at 4 litres for a V8, it's got an enormous amount of torque. It's got about 700 horsepower. It weighs 410 kilos. Any road car to get up Shelsley in about 35-36 seconds, you're doing well. You need to carry your momentum as well. Through the first corner, which is Kennel, you've got to keep that speed, keep that momentum. Takes you through crossing, which is the blind left, all the way flat to bottom S, and then you don't need to brake as much as you might think into bottom S because of the hill. It slows you down automatically.
Yeah.
We have 6 competitive weekends throughout the year here at Shelsley.
Yeah.
The British Hill Climb Championship visits twice. Early June the 4th is when we've got the cars coming, and then in the middle of August, and we've also got a classic meeting as well, Classic Nostalgia, huge weekend. That is 22nd, 23rd of July, and in between we've got some club motorsport. We've got members days for members of the Shelsley Club, the Midland Automobile Club, specifically for them to come and drive. It's on a discounted rate once they become an annual member. We've got a vintage day, so all the cars are pre-war. And we've got a bike day for the first time this year on July the 1st. Big variety.
Excellent. And of course there's a school as well.
And a driving school, such as today.
Brown car guy.
There's lots of great cars up here at the Shelsley Walsh Hillclimb today, and this is a Cobra, and this apparently is a real Cobra, not a replica, it's a real one. It's got provenance. This is also a movie star.
Chassis number CSX 2038. The X denotes that it was built by Shelby American as a racing car, and it's the 2038 chassis number. This car was one of two press cars when Ford got involved.
Yeah.
That was then used for the Viva Las Vegas
Right.
movie with Elvis. It was painted silver for that film, and you see it in the backgrounds in the garages and racing. And then from that film, it was actually damaged during the filming of that and repaired, and the chassis still has the repairs on it.
Really?
Yeah. Then it went from there to a movie called The Killers with Ronald Reagan and Lee Marvin. After that movie finished, it kind of languished in the back of the garages for a little while before being utilised in the Carroll Shelby School of Performance Motoring.
Oh wow!
So I'd say it's had a fairly hard life.
This has been put through its paces.
Yeah, and then in the mid-70s it turned up in Europe on the race circuits.
Right.
But there's no documentation of it sort of disappearing
Oh.
and coming there. But
So it kind of vanished and then reappeared after a few years.
And
Wow.
then it was bought a few years ago by its current owner, who has made sure as things like it had been modified for rack and pinion steering,
Oh, okay.
as things were back
Yeah.
then, because they were just old cars.
Yeah.
It's everything on this is authentic. It's probably one of the most authentic Cobras that you'll see. And
Whoa.
Harvey is racing it this season in historics for the Paddock Speed Shop.
This is amazing. So you are?
And I'm Craig. I'm the editor of Paddock Life magazine.
Oh, okay.
And the producer of Paddock Speed Shop television series.
Brown car guy.
So we just walked the course all the way up and all the way down. I have to say I'm already knackered, but the next step now is to start going up in the car. So this is where things start to get a little bit exciting. Right then, so here I am now in the car. It's interesting, now I've got the first time I've ever worn a helmet in this car, as you can see. And headroom has never been an issue in this car until I put the helmet on. I've suddenly realized, oh, there isn't actually that much headroom in here. But it's okay, it's manageable. So we're just lining up now, and then these are the very first laps that we do. So just exploratory runs, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see what this is like and what this car is going to be like, what a 33-year-old car is going to be like going up the famous Shelsley Walsh. I can't pronounce the name of this place, honestly. The spelling and the pronunciation of this is constantly catching me out. The Shelsley Walsh Hillclimb, one of the oldest continually in service motorsports venues. So very exciting. Should be interesting. So here we are, we're waiting on the start line. I'm lined up with cars on each side. There's a Cobra next to me, a very famous Cobra, an authentic real Cobra, which is just exciting to see that. It's been a little bit of a lesson to calm down, because apparently in the first group one of the cars has already managed to go off. So they they brought us all together and said, calm down, right, just take it easy when you get to the end. The thing is, they walked us up the course, and at the end of the course is a long straight to the finish line. And the temptation, I guess, there is just to go crazy, full flat out towards the finish line. And I think that's what happened. And then there's not enough braking distance after that. So I'm not going to be doing anything of the sort. In fact, I'm going to be just taking a gentle run up the hill to see what it's like. Don't forget.
The sun's come out for you.
That's nice, isn't it? So the sun's come out, so that's a good thing. But yeah, at least it's not raining, eh? That's another good thing. There's been a lot of rain lately. So we're about to do this thing, head up this hill, and see what it's like. Should be interesting. There goes the Cobra. Wow. That's amazing. So hopefully I'll be able to see the Cobra make its start. That should be quite exciting. I'm just moved up to what is the spin line. So apparently this is where people sort of burn rubber to warm up their tires. Whoa, there goes the Cobra. That looked awesome. Right, so I guess we're up next. Well, there we go.
Morning.
Morning.
Could you put the window up before you go,
I will
please?
do, yeah.
And then go on the green light.
Okay,
which
cool.
is just below the red one.
Really?
It will be.
It is now. Thanks very much. So they walked us up the hill, obviously, and they told us all of these details about where to brake and where to turn in. Late apexes on this thing. But of course now I've forgotten half of all of that, even though I think I was too busy trying to catch my breath going up the hill. But here we are. I'm not going very quickly, as you can probably tell. But so far so good, pretty straightforward. Just trying to remember where all the points are. There's an apex there. It's a late apex, and then there's only one sort of really real corner on this, which is this one here. And keep to the left, they said. And you've got a marker here. And then that's it. And then there's a long straight where we can really open her up a little bit, get up to 5,000 RPM. And then once you cross the finish thing, they said basically make sure that you're braking after that, which I am. I have no intention whatsoever of going into the gravel trap. Well, that was interesting and quite safe actually. That was a gentle run on my part. That was quicker, I'm pretty sure. Well, so I've done about 3 runs. I think there's actually 4 runs in the initial session before lunch, so I think I'm going to have another go up the hill. Definitely was a bit quicker on that last run, but you know, within reason. I think at one point I was changing up too early, so this last run I waited a little bit before I changed up, that sort of thing. And you know, it's remarkable how much difference those sort of things can make. But again, keeping in mind that I need to be careful with the car, you know, not overheat it or anything like that. So being tentative at the same time as trying to enjoy myself. But having said that, she's doing well, doing really well. I don't know how many runs are after lunch, but a few more runs after lunch. So the question of like how hard you push it, I think as far as like I'm comfortable with, quite frankly. Basically that bit there where you just have to straight line it, and then second gear here, wait for the apex on that last, this is the tightest corner on here, stay over to the left and then over to the right, and then just floor it right through to the the finish line basically. And at the finish line you got to remember to brake because there's a very short runoff after that where there's the finish line and there you just brake. So there you go. I don't know what time that was. Well, actually we'll be able to tell on the GoPros, won't we? So I don't know how I'm doing, but yeah, that's it. So I think that's it for now. Time for a bit of lunch. Give the car a little bit of a break as well, I think. So as we head back down the hill, we've been stuck up at the top of the hill for a while, and the reason being because another car had gone off. So that's 2 cars that have gone off today. It's quite a sobering thing to realize that. And the second car, apparently quite badly, the car I think is now undrivable, whereas the first one was, at least it got back down the hill again and just lost a little bit of bodywork. But yeah, as I say, you know, it can be dangerous, which again, this puts you in a state of mind where you're just like, okay, don't want to be that person. Thankfully the drivers are okay in both cases. First case, yeah, no problem. Second case, a little bit more worrying, but the driver's fine. So post lunch now, we've had our lunch, which is, I don't know if that's ever a good idea on these sort of things. And so a few more runs after lunch. Now they've taken away the markers this time, so now you have to figure out the apex points yourself, which is a little bit more tricky. But to be honest, like I think that I'll probably do like another couple of runs, and then that'll be it. I think you know, you don't want to push your luck too much on these things, but it's been fun, and let's see if I've learned anything. So here we go, final run of the day, no markers now, so you go figure this out yourself now. But getting up to 6,000 RPM in my straight 6 2.5 liter BMW, I think I maybe changed up again too early there. That was the same mistake I made on the second run. If you change up too early, then you just lose momentum because you're going uphill, you tend to forget, and then the braking there. Get it into second, late apex. Yeah, it is harder without the markers. The markers are really useful to tell you exactly where the braking points are and where the turning in points are. And once they're removed, you're kind of on your own. But there you go. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I don't know if you can make out in that one. McLaren in front of me. Genuine Cobra. Genuine Cobra. Genuine Cobra. That's crazy. So here we go, last run of the day I think for me, and we'll see how we do, see if we learned anything. But I have to say that having done that previous run, now that they've taken the markers away, it's so much more difficult without the markers. You realize how much you're relying on the markers when they take them away and suddenly there's nothing there to tell you where the apexes are, where the braking and turning points are. It's all about practice, I reckon, but it's definitely worth doing. It's something that, you know, if you're keen on this sort of stuff, you should definitely come and try. But be advised that, you know, it's a narrow circuit. There are no runoffs. There are no runoffs in this thing at all. So here we go, waiting for the light to go green. Try to get off the line without breaking traction. Holding on to second for a bit longer that time, that's better. Works out better because you can hold that momentum. But you really run out of momentum quickly when you realize, because it's just how steep this hill actually is. And then you go, oh, okay, yeah. And how quickly it's all over, because then that's it, you know. Once you make that turn, and then it's just to punch it to the end, that's all it is. What sort of speed am I going to get up to? I haven't actually monitored at all. It's 70 miles an hour. Wow, and some car 166 miles an hour. They said some cars get over the line 166, and I'm only doing 70. My God, that must be shocking to get over that at 166. Absolutely bonkers. So what have we learned today? What we've learned is there's a tremendous amount that can happen in a very short space of time. There's a tremendous amount of energy that you can expend in a very short space of time. A little bit like drag racing, really, but there's a little bit more to it because there's corners and apexes and curves and crowns in the road and stuff like that. What we've also learned is how much technical expertise has to go into what is quite a short sprint. You know, how much practice, even for those few corners, you think, oh yeah, a couple of times I'll nail this. No, you need to do repeated runs to really understand the technical aspects of how to get the corners right, what side of the road you should be in, what are the braking points, what are the turning points, where you can get the best out of the car. And the interesting thing, as the instructor was saying at the beginning of the session today, was actually some of it applies differently to different types of cars. So some of the high downforce, high grip cars actually need to be on slightly different side of the roads than the normal cars would be. So it's amazing how much goes into something like this, and how much, especially if you're going to do it as a professional. What have I learned today? I've learned that probably the car is actually fantastic for this sort of thing. The low down torque really helps up a hill. But I've also learned that I'm a little bit tentative about how far I want to push the car. I mean, I would say, okay, yes, I had my foot flat on the floor, but I was probably changing up a little bit earlier than I could have. Although having said that, I took it up to about 5.5, just below the 6,000 RPM red line on this car on some of those changes. But you know, if you were really going for it, I think you would have to be a lot more brutal than I was being. I would say probably 7 to 8 tenths of its overall capability in terms of performance and braking is pretty much what I was using. But also there's a skill set, and that's almost guaranteed that I think a better driver with a better skill set would be able to carry more momentum and actually be a bit more technically clever with the where and how they're positioning the car and cutting the corners, etc., etc. So there's a lot to be learned. It's very exciting. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot to be learned, but at the same time, it's a very serious thing, you know. And unlike when you do track days or driving schools on track days, and that's not to say that's true for all tracks, but I know from a lot of tracks, you know, at least you have runoff, or you may have an instructor sitting with you or something like that. But in this case, you know, there is very little margin for error. There's very little room to make mistakes. So you've got to come here with a little bit of confidence, as well as looking for a day out full of excitement and learning as well. So also check your car, make sure your car is okay. I mean, I just did a few basic checks, you know, just make sure the oil fluids, everything was okay before I came out here today. But at the end of the day, you know, this is a car that I've driven here and I want to drive it back, and you know, 90% of people are doing that, but of course a couple of people, or at least one person, is not going to be doing that today. The car has already been trailered away, whereas actually the first car is back on the road, I noticed, so that's fine. But with a little bit missing. So it's one of those things where you just got to be aware that that is a possible scenario. So other than that, thoroughly recommended, highly entertaining, fun day out. Thank you very much to Motul, who's organized this event today. And of course I have Motul oil in this car. The last time this car was serviced, it was done so, as those who follow it regularly on hashtag BCG BMW E30 will know, it was done over at the project shop. And they, of course, they use Motul fluids and oils for the car. So that's how it went today. That was the story. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got an idea of what it's like to do the very famous, historical Shelsley Walsh Hillclimb.
Brown car guy.
Hello, my name is Sylvain Guintoli. I normally race bikes, but today I came to Shelby Walsh to try the climb for the first time with my car. We've had a Suzuki as well early on, a little Suzuki Swift, which was kindly landed to me by Suzuki. They're very confident with that actually, because it's quite a dangerous place here.
Yeah, it's true.
But it all worked out good.
Yeah.
Really good fun, yeah. Nice to try something different.
It's interesting that you say it's a dangerous place, because obviously we've seen a couple of mishaps, but it's somewhere that has to be treated with respect, right?
Yeah. Well, we're very close to the walls, like most of the time,
Yeah.
and you got cold tires,
Yeah.
and you go quite fast actually before especially before the top corners.
Yeah.
It's quite quick, so there's quite a bit of danger. And if you get it wrong, you're gonna hit the wall or you're gonna be in trouble.
So were you more nervous in the Suzuki or in your McLaren?
You're always less careful when it's not your own.
Right.
You can't help it, can you?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
But I had fun in both, so yeah, it was equally as fun.
Awesome, thanks for talking to me.
Cheers, mate.
So we came here just to do a bit of a shakedown on the car, because I've driven it on the road, but we need to kind of get as much track time on an enclosed environment where obviously I can use it to its full potential. And my biggest issue today has been trying to get over the second gear issue, but it seems to be very intermittent, which is annoying.
What's the issue?
We think there's something to do with the linkage.
Oh,
it's
okay.
not inside the box, so it's fixable fairly easily. We've just
So you were
got to
missing second gear on some of the runs, basically?
Yeah, so it doesn't go into second all the
Right.
time. It's quite annoying because you need second, especially on a hill climb.
Yeah.
But it's
But
also
overall,
been
how's it been, though?
really good for
Yeah.
discovering the size of the car. Things
Right,
like that. Yeah.
right. So what's it been like driving such a car with so much provenance?
Oh, it's great. It's definitely special. It's quite quick as well, which is good. That is good for a hill climb because you've got the power. So
Yeah.
the lines are very different in this compared to all the other cars
Yeah.
today as well, because it's very low grip, high power, and it's got quite a tight diff at the back as well.
Yeah.
So you kind of throw it in more than the rest of the cars here. You want to try and be smooth.
Is it as wild as everybody says it is?
This one, not really. You know, I like to drive whatever I'm in. I drive it the same, and
Yeah.
I don't like to think about the value,
Yeah.
because if you're nervous, you'll make mistakes.
Yeah.
So
So it's been pretty cool. And of course,
Yeah.
you've had the spirit of the king with you as well, Elvis
Yeah.
as well. So.
exactly, yeah.
My name's Mike Armitage. I'm the editor of Bike Magazine. First time at Shelsley Walsh doing a hill climb. Didn't know what to expect. Obviously did the looking at it on YouTube thing, and it looks quite flat, quite flat and easy to learn. It's actually really steep, and the fast bits are way faster than you think they're going to be, and the slow bits are way slower. And so while it's fairly easy to get an idea where you're going, actually going fast and getting the best out of the bike and the circuit, I imagine could take years.
And earlier you were telling me that you almost deliberately had brought the wrong bike for this.
Well, yeah, because your instinct is to bring something fast.
Yeah.
And so I was going with a KTM Super G car, which is 170 horsepower, weighs nothing, and track tyres. But it would have been wasted because the tyres wouldn't have got working until I'd got to the finish line.
Yeah.
And more power than an idiot like me can use on a narrow little track like this. Whereas the BMW GS, the tyres work from cold, it's really grunty low down, it's flexible, it's agile, so I haven't got to worry about the bike. I can just worry about not face planting one of the grass banks at the top of the hill.
Have you enjoyed the day?
It's been cracking,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
really
awesome.
good.
Peter, I've got a Ginetta G32. It's my first time up here. I started hill climbing last year, and I'm now nearly 77. I had a whale of a time at Lowton, and I've come here to learn Shelsley, and I'm having a great time. It's a brilliant track, they're wonderful people, and it's just what I wanted.
And we got to go. And I'm David. Can I do it again in a minute?
Davis has got to go. Tell me your car. Where's your car? What are you driving?
It's a 911.
911. It's beautiful. 1971 911. Check that out. Isn't that gorgeous? Tell me your name
Nigel Walker.
and how did you find today?
Excellent value.
Have you done this before?
No, first time.
And this is your own car?
My own car.
And have you enjoyed taking it up that hill?
I've had a wonderful time. I'll be back.
You'll be back?
I'll
There
certainly
isn't
be
a better
back.
endorsement than that, is there?
There isn't. It's fabulous, and the company's been great.
Fantastic.
The instructor's perfect, aren't they?
It is, isn't it? Very
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much. Great to
No
meet you,
problem.
man.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these 3 little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.